What's up, everyone? Hope everyone's doing okay. So, I want to talk about the difference between race and ethnicity. Okay, question of the day. Is being Hispanic slash Latinx a race or an ethnicity? And FYI, Latinx is just a gender neutral term. I'm going to tell you all this right now. Being Hispanic is not a race, it's an ethnicity. And what it just means you come from a country where you all speak Spanish. You can be any race and be Latina. Like, it doesn't make any sense. That would be like saying, oh, I'm not Black, I'm American. You see what I mean by that? So it is an ethnicity. There are Black Latinos, white Latinos, Asian Latinos, Indigenous Latinos. There's mestizos, which means they're white as well as indigenous. And there are people who are mixed that are Latino. Like, for instance, Hispanic is just reserved for people who speak Spanish. Now, any language that comes from the Latin group, whether it's Italian, French, Portuguese, Spanish, or Romanian, that's part of the Romance languages. So, for instance, you can say a Haitian, technically is Latino because why? Because they speak French, specifically French Creole. So they would technically be Latino. They wouldn't be Hispanic because they don't speak Spanish. And that's the same thing for people who are Brazilian. They could be labeled Latino, just not Hispanic because, again, they don't speak Spanish. Now, as far as, like, okay, for instance, there are people who think you have to look a certain type of way to be Latino. And it's all just stereotypes because there's no look into being Latino. It's just an ethnicity, nothing more. Like, for instance, like Celia Cruz, the late Celia Cruz, she was Afro-Latina. She was Cuban. And there's a lot of Black people in Cuba. There's Black Puerto Ricans. There's Black Dominicans. And I'm going to dive into that Dominican thing. Dominicans, like, they don't, I'm not going to say all of them are like that, but some of them, they don't like embracing their African heritage. Like, they only acknowledge their Spaniard culture. Hey, Jackie, how are you? And the thing is, the reason why some of them are that way, because they beef with Haitians. And the thing is, Haiti used to own Dominican Republic. And then they had a dictator, which was Rafael Trujillo, or whatever his name is. He was committing genocide against the Haitians and whatever in Dominican Republic. And I would counter some Dominicans that would say, even though they look Black, mind you, I've countered some that would say shit like, I'm not Black, I'm Dominican. Well, you are both. Yes, you are Dominican, but you know what? Looking at you, you are goddamn Black too. And that's what people need to get with that. And yes, there is some self-hatred in that community as well. They got their own set of colorism shit going on. They even have this term called Majora la Raza, which means bettering the race. So they believe in being with the lightest person they can and procreate with them. So it's a lot of that self-hatred going on. So yeah. Now, another thing, people need to understand, like, the slave ships didn't just land in the United States. Okay, that's why you have all these different people in other Latin countries, with black people in it. You have some, like, there's like a small population of Afro-Mexicans in Mexico, especially in the southern region, like Veracruz. And there's like, and mind you, in Brazil, they had the highest African slaves in their country, according to the stats. And in other countries, they don't go by our standards when it comes to race. Like in Brazil, they have these terms based off your skin tone, like merino and all of that. Hey, Intel Demand, how are you? Like they have a bunch of terms for skin tones. And even like during the 50s, like if you notice, like all the majority of the white Cubans like left Cuba and resided in Miami, if you notice. Jackie says, I dated a guy, Latino guy. He only dated black women. He was not into his own race. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, so anyways, so I'll say this, like, I'm not saying they're all like that, but especially the ones in Florida, like the white Cubans over there, they can come off very bigot, if you will. Not saying they're all like that, but again, they're white. They're white. What you expect? And so, what I'm saying is that just because someone is a certain race, right, doesn't mean they're not Latino. Okay, not everyone looks like J Lo. I mean, there's diversity in the Latino community. And and of course the media doesn't do a good job at representation. They only show us only certain type of look in the Latino community. Like for instance, okay, this actor, his name is Laz Alonso. Like he always played all the roles with African Americans or whatever, but he's Cuban. Like, why can't he ever play a role where he's Latino? I mean, he is Latino. The late Merlin Santana, he was Dominican. And that guy from The Wire, the drug addict on the show, I think he was either Puerto Rican or Cuban. And then, I don't know if you all know this, but the guy who played Worm from Friday, he's Cuban. If you all didn't know that. So it's like when you do see like Afro Latinos, they mainly play African American roles. If you notice, I don't understand why Hollywood never cast them in anything where they're just playing Latinos as well. Like, what's up with that? And it's like they need to step their game up when it comes to representation because you need to showcase everyone. Oh, and don't assume like just because you stereotype black people and think they can't understand the language of Spanish, like don't get it twisted. Like there are Afro Latinos and there's some who's not, and they just happen to be fluent in Spanish. Like I'm not fluent in Spanish. I know a few basic words, but I'm not fluent in it. So yeah, so being Hispanic just means you're from a country that speaks Spanish, nothing more. So just want to tell y'all that. Okay, and what's going on in the news? Ivana Trump passed away at the age of 73. She was Donald Trump's first wife, and they had 3 older children together. So she passed away. So yeah, rest in peace to her. And oh yeah, this other story. So this guy, well he's 17 years old. He's from the show Stranger Things. His name is Noah Snap. And he played Will on Stranger Things. So anyways, Doja Cat hit this boy up because she wanted to holler at his co-star who played the role of Eddie. His name is Joseph Quinn. So what Noah did, he showed those private DMs and all of that. And Doja Cat, she went off and like called him a snake and shit. And he has since apologized. And my thing is this: if you want to holler at a dude, you could have just hit him up on his Instagram. You didn't have to go through a fucking kid to do that. Like, you're a grown ass woman. Find the guy yourself. Like, you ain't like, what the fuck? And do I feel he needs to apologize? Nah. Especially you're a child. Like, you shouldn't have to keep shit to yourself. An adult should not be hitting you about shit. Nah, she should have went over there and hit dude up if she was interested. So that was corny on her part. So yeah. That's what went on in the news. So yeah, I'm about to get off of here. Just wanted to touch on that Hispanic Latinx shit because some people are very confused by it, but like I said, it's not a race, it's an ethnicity. Okay, you could be any race and be Latino, period. So y'all have a wonderful afternoon. Until next time, peace.